So one of the things that when you move on and you retire, that when big things happen in Philadelphia sports, it's still like, man, I wonder what Angelo would say about this, which is the reason I reached out to you with what happened with Marcus Hayes and Joel Embiid. So what was your opinion? First, let's start with this. What's your opinion on how the 76ers have handled the entire thing from the beginning of training camp to where we are today with Joel Embiid being suspended for shoving Marcus Hayes? How do you feel the Sixers have handled the whole thing?
Well, first of all, let me just say, I do write a blog every week at AngeloCataldi.com so people can find out totally free of charge whatever I'm thinking. All right, so that's good. The fact of the matter is, none of this surprised me in the least, but they handled it in their usual slipshod, ineffective way. Awful. The thing that got me the most of it, so they knew there was probably going to be a problem because Embiid held that woe is me news conference on Friday saying, I did so much for this city, I don't deserve this. While I'm thinking, John, yeah, at $51 million a year, these guys nowadays, especially the biggest superstar, think this should be a smooth road to happiness. That being a sports star doesn't include criticism when you are not living up to your expectations or your paycheck. So the fact that these Sixer PR flacks would be in that locker room after an assault on a media person and attempt to get everyone in the room not to report the news. That to me was the most telling moment in the whole incident, because it said to me, I knew in the years that I was in those locker rooms, John, nobody would have tried that with Stan Hochman in there, Mark Wicker, those great columnists who they suffered no fools. Yeah, we're not going to report news because it'd be uncomfortable for the Sixers. Screw you, all right? They tried it. You know what that said to me? That these guys cover the team now, with some exceptions, are basically doing the bidding of the teams they're covering. That they're being asked to do stuff and must be succeeding, or they would have even tried that ridiculous stunt in the Embiid thing. And as for Marcus, look, here's the thing. Marcus is in the most impossible position a writer can be in sports in our city right now, because he's the last guy counting people, making them accountable in our city when they do something wrong, do something stupid, do something that is not in sync with what the fans want. And he's going to take this heat. I've talked to him privately, and I said to him, you're going to get this a lot, because no one else does it anymore. From my background in journalism, John, that's your job. Hold the people in power accountable. And if it's sports, especially if they're making $50 million a year and they won't play and they're not giving you a good answer as to why, left knee management is not even an injury. To me, they deserve all that came down. And I'm just sorry. I thought it was ludicrous that the NBA suspended Joel Embiid for 3 games. He hasn't played all year. What are you suspended him from? And this is just another example of what a petulant, just self-pitying star is like in our town. And they ain't going to win anything with him here. They'll never win anything here. Yeah, because of him and the organization he plays for.
Well, I tend to agree with that. And to me, my biggest takeaway is that they're scared to death of Joel Embiid. He's calling every shot down there. That's the reason why there wasn't injury information that was released, because he's sensitive. He doesn't want it out there. But the thing that bothered me the most was that they set it up for that incident to happen with Marcus Hayes. And Angelo, I'm sure you've been in the situation many times where you've written something and there's a player that's mad at you. So isn't the proper procedure to make sure that you separate the two and you meet away from everybody else to clear the air? Then the air is cleared. Maybe there's some, I understand where you're coming from. Marcus apologizes and say, listen, I should have never written that. To where then Embiid isn't more or less attacking Marcus Hayes in front of everybody. So, like, what's
Right.
the proper procedure for what went down there? What should the Sixers have done?
Yeah. I mean, I had incidents like that because I covered the team the way Marcus does. I was attacked by Ray Ellis of the Eagles. I was attacked by a coach, Bob McCammon of the Flyers. And that was predating. Now they're much rarer. Those things used to happen all the time because if they didn't like what you wrote, they would see you the next day if you covered a team and they would go, the hell are you talking about? And then you should say, here's what my thinking was. I respect your side of the argument. I'm happy to write a follow-up presenting your case. I offered my opinion or my insight. That's the way it's done. Normally, that will not work anyway. So you're right. What you do is, if you got a PR staff that knows what it's doing, which the Sixers have demonstrated at no time that they do, you bring them together in a calm setting with people there who can mediate. And it doesn't appear like they did that. And I'm not surprised. Marcus Hayes wrote about the son and the late brother of Joel Embiid. To me, it wasn't as derogatory if it sounds when you pull that out. He was just saying, you have a legacy, Joel, and make them proud. That's all he was really trying to do.
Right.
But okay, this is the way Embiid thinks, though. He loves this role of victim. He loves to be the $51 million a year victim. And I don't buy a word of it. And if I were on the air, I would be hammering on him.
Unfortunately for Marcus, I agree with you. I think he was trying to make a point, and he was trying to do it as a writer that's a lot smarter than me. The problem is when you talk about a deceased brother and the son, 99% of the people aren't even reading the article anyway, Angelo. So they just see the context, and then everything it goes where it goes. And that's what happened in this case.
Right. And he apologized. To his credit, he apologized. He was prepared to apologize face-to-face with Joel. But that didn't serve Joel's agenda, which is to portray himself as a victim. And that's what he loves to do.
If you're the Sixers and you know Embiid's in there waiting for him, and you had to know he was in the locker room waiting for Marcus Hayes because Marcus had to show up, you don't let Marcus walk in there. You say to Marcus, listen, Joel's in there right now. He's pissed. Let me try to get him to the side. We're going to talk in a little bit. But you can't let Marcus walk in there because you know what's going to happen, unless they wanted it to happen, Angelo.
Yeah, you're right. And they did it. Why? Maybe they hated what he wrote too, and they wanted to see him get his comeuppance. That's possible too. I have no idea. See, I may be assigning more competence to them than they have. They're just look at the image of the team. Are they well liked in the city? Is the ownership embraced in the city? No, they're already doing a lousy job. And they've been doing a lousy job for the last 20 years. Here's the problem, John, and it's real simple to see if a team knows how to connect with the city or not. Do the fans like them? Do the fans feel happy about the organization? Say what you want about the Phillies. They've got a lot of goodwill going with their fans. The Sixers, I don't see much of it at all because they don't know how to connect with their audience. And that's what you see it. You see it, all the stuff that's going on now is a byproduct of their inability to do PR.